Camden Calvert and King were the slave traders that brought the second and third fleets to Australia. Entrepreneurial flair, financial capability and maritime expertise helped Camden Calvert and King become highly successful. Yet it did not eradicate the morally bankrupt nature of their enterprise and their insatiable lust for profit, which came at the expense of any form of compassion or empathy for their fellow man. From Loyds Bank to Trinity House, from the public to the private sector, they leveraged off their connections and reveled in the building of an empire that was unwavering in its quest for power and influence. No matter how unconscionable and depraved the ultimate outcomes were for the wretched beings who helped give them their wealth, Camden Calvert and King never stopped to consider that they too were humans who felt pain and love, cared for their families, and wanted what we all do, happiness. To be known as the premier London-based firm involved in the slave trade in the last quarter of the 18th century was not seen by them as a source of shame. In fact, their methods were seen as an advantage when they awarded the contracts for the transportation of convicts to New South Wales in the second and third fleets. And of course, they could hide behind the fact they belonged to fashionable moral organizations such as the Foundling Hospital for Destitute Newborn Children. Their duplicity was so utterly vulgar, their conceit an illumination of the demonic darkness at the core of their beings. They were far from being alone, however, and ultimately were a microcosm of a culture that chose to ignore the wrongs of the society in which they lived. Of those that survived the journey, the Reverend Johnson, who went amongst the convicts as soon as the ships reached port, wrote, "The conditions are indescribable. They were wretched, naked, filthy, and many of them utterly unable to stand, to creep, or even to stir hand or foot. It was a fleet of death. An inquiry was held into horrific outcomes of the second and third fleets. But nothing was done about it, of course, because they were already contracted by the government to prepare the third fleet for sailing to Port Jackson in 1791. And of course, it was all to become history. Lost to the ruins of time. Lost to the ruins of time."